Hey everyone, welcome to Saimah's Experience. My name is Saimah and I have probably the most insane story for you guys. By far, the craziest thing that I have ever experienced on the Turo platform. And I have been on this platform as a host for 6+ years. I've hosted thousands of trips, have experienced probably every type of accident or incident you can possibly think of under the sun. And I have never seen anything like this. My Vanderhall Venice was involved in a horrific accident, and this was truly something that just gave me chills the moment that I saw the photos. I've just never seen anything like it, and it's incredible how this car ended up on top of my Vanderhall Venice while it was out on a Turo rental. So in this video, I'm going to go over what happened to the Vanderhall, what happened to the renter, and how the Turo Claims process has gone. So it's just been an experience that I don't really have words for. Now, from the videos that I've posted in the last couple months, and just from all the hosts that I have the pleasure of talking to on a daily basis, it seems like we are in a bit of a high claim season. So there's a lot of travel going on, a lot of people out on the roads, a lot of accidents happening. And when things like this happen, it can get very scary, and especially if you're new to the platform, it's difficult to kind of come to grips with what is happening so that you can navigate through it. And this is something we discuss almost on a daily basis as incidents happen in my private community at Powerhost.club. I have hundreds of hosts that are a part of this community and an abundance of resources. But the best thing is that when stuff like this happens, we talk about it in real time and really provide support and resources for each other in real time. I also host 2 live calls per week where you can interact with me in real time, ask me your questions, and we kind of work through all things Turo on a weekly basis. So you can check it out at Powerhost.club. It's $3 a week, and it's just a great layer of support to have when you are in this business. Okay, so let's dive into what has happened with my Vanderhall Venice. I'm going to show you guys a series of photos just showing you the condition of the Vanderhall after it was involved in this absolute mind-blowing, jaw-dropping, heart-sinking accident. So basically it went out on a trip for a couple of days. The renter was absolutely great. I have no issues with the renter at all. It was just an unfortunate situation that took place. Now, interestingly enough, when it comes to this accident that happened, I actually didn't get very many details. By the time that the claim and accident was reported, the Vanderhall had already been towed by CHP because this accident did unfortunately take place on the highway. So they did have to clear the scene and get it towed. And where the vehicle was towed was quite a distance away from where I am located. So I never had the chance to personally see the car in person and get, any additional footage, but the tow yard was actually nice enough to send me over some additional photos. So it's crazy because if you are not familiar with the Vanderhall, it is this 3-wheeler open air, what they consider to be an auto cycle. So there is no roof, there's nothing really protecting you or enclosing you in the structure of the vehicle. So all you have that's really kind of sort of your saving grace is the roll cages that are behind each of the seats. And those are of course very sturdy and not going to hopefully really give way should you be involved in a crazy incident like this. Now, the one thing that the renter did say in this particular scenario is that she was so thankful that she wore the helmet because that is what saved her life. And what I find interesting about these 3-wheel auto cycles is that in many states, you are actually not required to wear a helmet, but California is one of those places where it's sort of a gray area because they kind of consider it a motorcycle, so they do require those helmets. So I'm just glad that as a host that I did show her, where the helmets were and that I provided them for her and that she wore it during the trip because this is just horrifying what took place. So if you are renting out a three-wheeler, whether it's a Polaris Slingshot, which are very popular on the platform, Can-Ams, or Vanderhalls, just make sure that you do advise your guests to wear helmets because it can really be life-saving. And this is not my first three-wheeler that's been in an accident where helmets have really been a saving grace. My Polarises have also been involved in accidents years ago, and they were wearing helmets, thankfully, in that situation as well. So it's just crazy to see this Dodge Challenger that weighs over 5,000 pounds land on a little Vanderhall Venice that is probably in the range of about 1,500 pounds. So what exactly took place here, I'm not sure. I don't know what the full story is. Unfortunately, that was just information that I was not able to gather from the renter or from the insurance. And I'm sure it was a scary situation for all parties involved. And so, I'm okay with that. We have some photos and we can sort of take a guess at what happened. So I'm really curious to know what you guys think happened here and how something like this is even possible, because I have never seen anything like it. Now let's talk about my renter. So I am so happy to report that she did walk away without really any injuries, and it is just mind-blowing that that was in fact the circumstance of this situation. And I'm just so glad as a host, because thankfully in all my years of doing this with all the accidents, I've never experienced any fatalities, and I'm not so sure that I can handle that. I know it's possible and it could happen. I'm just glad that it didn't happen in this situation. And if there was ever a situation, I would imagine it would have been this one. So she reported back to me. I did speak to her the following day. And, of course, at the end of the day, that is literally the most important thing, is that the person that was involved in this, both parties were okay. They walked away from it without any injuries as far as I know. And I am just so grateful for that, because I don't even know what that would have looked like had it had gone the other way. So thankfully she was okay. Cars can be replaced. They can be repaired. Not a big deal there. And that's really what insurance is for. So, definitely chime in. Let me know what you guys think about these photos. It just, even me looking at them now, it still just sort of takes my breath away, because it's just unfathomable how something like that could happen. Even talking to all the insurance parties that were involved in all of this, the claims agents, they were even blown away by what took place here. And the fact that these people walked away okay and not injured and in a hospital somewhere. It was just, everyone was really at a loss of words for this. So we are thankful for that outcome, and that everyone is okay. So let's talk about the Vanderhall really quick. From these photos that were sent to me by the tow yard, I am actually really impressed. Now, if you've seen my past videos, I've had a lot of gripe with Vanderhall and the quality of these vehicles because of the issues I had with them. But I have to say, if you look at the post-accident photos, I mean, the car actually held up really well. It was really not as destroyed as I had imagined it to be, and the roll bars seem to be okay too, and that has to be a big reason why the renter was able to walk away in one piece. So kudos to Vanderhall to really building a machine that could stand the test of a 5,000 pound car landing directly on top of it. So it is just incredible that it did hold up in the way that it did. And, I'm grateful for that. So you know what? It kind of goes to show you that maybe there is some quality behind these Vanderhalls. And I'm really, it now has me thinking about looking into the newer models of Vanderhalls and seeing about maybe potentially listing another one on the platform. So, it held up really well. Should it be in an accident? A lot of people ask me all the time, if I worry about them being in accidents. And now that I have some experience with this, I feel much better about having another one of these and having renters be behind the wheels of them. Now let's talk about the claims process. So a lot of you guys are experiencing accidents right now. Many of you guys, I did a live Q&A a couple of days ago, and you guys have experienced totaled cars recently from the boom in travel, especially we had 4th of July that was just around the corner, and you guys are experiencing major incidents where your cars get totaled. Now, after the car was finally picked up by insurance and evaluated, Turo did come to the conclusion that it was in fact going to be totaled out and not worth it to repair. So basically what happens is when there is a severe accident, they will have the car evaluated and take a look at what the damages are going to cost versus the value of the vehicle. Now, it's the value of the vehicle is not what you purchased it at or what you owe on the car, but they go by something called ACV, and that is the actual cash value of the vehicle that they are appraising. Basically, what that means is they will look at your pre-trip photos, they will look at the odometer, they will look at the condition of the vehicle, obviously before it was involved in the accident, and they will take that point in time and measure the value of vehicle based on that. So what it would be worth at that moment in time. And that is what is going to give them the actual cash value of the vehicle, and that is what you will get reimbursed for minus any deductibles you may owe. Now, the claims process when a vehicle is totaled, it's pretty straightforward. And as a host, I'm here to tell you that I have been through many of these over the years, and it's one of those things that just requires patience and actually really little to no work on the end of the host. You just have to give it time so that it can pass hands through all the different parties that are involved, because it's often a third party that will come and evaluate the vehicle. You know, they have to do comparisons against other vehicles so that they get the proper value of the car. It goes through Turo, maybe the third party's insurance is involved. So there's a lot of steps to it. And it's typically what I have seen a 6 to 8 week process from the car getting its value from Turo and then them giving you a settlement amount and then the payouts being issued. Now, this situation was really interesting, and this is a question that a lot of you guys asked me, is what if you want to settle the claim with your guest directly, especially to avoid any high deductibles you may have? So this claim was really unique in that when I first started the claim, I actually started the process by trying to settle it directly with the guest because she was very forthcoming with her insurance information, and so that was an option. Now, an interesting turn of events is after I filed the claim with her insurance company and we got the process going, we found out that her insurance carrier would not cover her because the Vanderhall is not considered a regular car. It is considered sort of like an autocycle or a motorcycle, and her policy did not provide coverage for that. So that was a first for me and a very unique experience in that I didn't expect that to happen. This is why, and this is so important, so I really, really hope that you guys take note on this. Anytime a claim happens, you have to immediately file a claim with your Turo host protection plan. This is absolutely crucial. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself in a very vulnerable situation and expose yourself to a lot of financial liability. Now, here's what you do. You file that claim with your host protection plan. If you want to try to settle it directly with your guest, you go ahead and mark that claim as settle with guest directly. Turo will give you that option towards the end of the process. What that does for you is that it basically creates a layer of protection. Turo's system will give you a 20-day window to get the process going with your guests and to verify that you can in fact settle with them. Now, in this scenario, I found out very quickly that the guest insurance was not going to cover this claim, which meant that I was going to have to default back to my Turo host protection plan, and that is exactly what I did. So after you file that claim, you will always receive an email from Turo's claims department, to which you then just respond to and say, hey, you know what? Looks like my guest insurance is not going to cover this. I'm going to have to go ahead and pursue it through my own host protection plan, and then they will begin the claims process for you. So again, you have that 20-day window to default back to it in case things don't work out. But the most important thing is that you file that claim on time at the time of the incident, and as soon as you get all the information and the vehicle and the photos, file that claim right away, because you want to have that layer of protection, because nothing is guaranteed, right? So in this scenario, my claims process is taking a little bit longer because it took me about a week to 2 weeks to figure out that the guest insurance wasn't going to cover it, her personal coverage. So then it took me a while to get back to Turo and get the process rolling. Had it had gone directly through Turo, things would have gone a lot faster for me, and that's okay, right? It's just a little bit of time that you're giving up in exchange for possibly saving on your deductible. In this particular scenario, luckily I was on the 70% plan, which means I had a $250 deductible on this claim. So basically, here's what happens. Turo will put together an entire report for you, and they will show you the different vehicles that they compare values against that are identical or similar to the one that you have. Based on that, they will come up with the actual cash value of your vehicle. They will add back the taxes and fees that you paid at the time of purchase, and then they will deduct any deductibles that you have on your host protection plan. So for me, it was $250, and then that will yield the settlement amount that they are going to issue to you. People will find themselves in all different types of scenarios. If you own the vehicle outright, then they will issue that payment directly to you as a host. And of course, they will ask you for title and proof of ownership and all of that good stuff in order to verify everything. Now, let's say you have a loan out against that vehicle. Now, they are going to ask you for the lien holder's information, whoever the lender is, your account information, so that they can get in touch and figure out what payment needs to be issued to the lien holder. Now, let's say the settlement amount is less than what you owe on the car. That can definitely be possible because maybe you bought the car at a high price, maybe it depreciated more than you had anticipated. So what is being paid out might end up being less than what you owe. So essentially, Turo will issue the payment to your lien holder. Your lien holder will get back to you and say, hey, you still have a balance of X amount that you are responsible for, and they will give you a window by which you have to pay it by. So that's how that scenario would work. Now, on the flip side, Turo could come up with a settlement amount that could be greater than what you owe, and that can definitely happen often. So what they will do is they will find out the balance that remains with your lender. They will issue them that payment, and then whatever is left after that will get issued to you directly as the host. One important thing to know is because this is typically a 6 to 8 week process from my experience, you as a host, you are still responsible for making your car payments if you owe a car payment. So you want to make sure that you keep making those on time because you don't want to adversely affect your credit until all the settlements are done and everyone is paid out. So you are still responsible for that, which is why I always have that rule of thumb of having at least a 3 to 6 month safety net should you find yourself in one of these situations. So this was the crazy scenario that I experienced with my Vanderhall. All the settlements have been reported, so I know exactly what I'm getting paid out and what the lender is getting. And so we're wrapping all of this up. So it was finally time to share this story with you guys. And I am just so thankful that my renter walked away in one piece and everyone is okay. Cars can be replaced. And now I am just itching to get a new car for the platform. If only these car prices would come down. So I'm excited to start exploring and figuring out which new cars I'm going to get into as soon as these prices come down and the market sort of calms down and evens out. Now, again, I love having this private community, which is available to you guys at Powerhost.club. And like I said, the best part about it is that you have sort of this extra layer of support when really insane things like this happen. You have a group of amazing hosts who have years of experience, such as myself, there to sort of guide you through the process, give you the resources, and give you the best tips that we have utilized throughout the years, in all of our experiences. So you can definitely check that out at Powerhost.club. I host 2 live calls per week in which you can interact with me in real time, ask me your questions, and I do my very best to get them answered for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this crazy story of what happened to my Vanderhall, and truly my renter is lucky to be alive. I'm so thankful for this outcome. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys all have a wonderful week ahead, and thanks for tuning in. Be well. Take care, guys.